Hi, welcome to the White Hat versus Black Hat SEO show. My name is Josh Santa Claus Bashinsky, and this is the special surprise holiday White Hat versus Black Hat SEO show, where we're going to go over all the secrets of 2018. And I guess I'm just making it up as I go. And we're going to go over what's going to happen in 2019 and everything you're going to have to do. And if you've never seen the White Hat versus Black Hat SEO show, we are the finest SEO show on the YouTubes. That is for a number of reasons. One, we have the best hats. Two, we have the best t-shirts. Three, we have the best chest hair, even though it's contained today by the t-shirt. Four, we have the highest level of knowledge of SEO in SEO because we do actual scientific experiments, both single variable experiments and massive correlation studies to tell us what the actual ranking factors are, as opposed to guessing what the ranking factors might be, like everybody else does. And so that's why you should listen to us, and that's why we have the best level of knowledge. That's how we can guarantee what it is we do, and we can guarantee we can get you rankings. We can guarantee we can get you on to page one and even higher on page one. And if you don't believe me, just go to bit.ly/SEO proof. That's bit.ly/SEOPROOF. And you will see at least 170 examples of us killing it in there and doing all that kinds of stuff. And so before I get any further, I would like to introduce my gray hat co-host, Ted, the Crusher Kubitis. Say hi there, Ted.
Hello. How's it going? How was Christmas?
My Christmas was great. Thank you for asking. How was yours, sir?
Oh, wonderful. So I'm excited for this episode. Rumor has it we're going to make some predictions and recap some discoveries.
Yes.
Awesome.
We could do that. Yeah, we could do that. Okay, fantastic. And I see Jordan is there in the chat. Jordan, you can join if you want to as well, or you can just stay in the chat on YouTube. So if you're watching us live on YouTube, that's the best place to do it, because now you can ask us questions. On the top right-hand side, you're going to see a chat box there. Go ahead and ask us questions, and please make sure there's some stars with those questions. So with my giant Coke bottle glasses, that's how I see the world. See how dirty those are? That's terrible. With these giant Coke bottle glasses, you got to help me see your SEO questions so I know that they're for me and not for anybody else. And so before we get started, I'd like to start the show with, before we get started on the Q&A and what the retrospective and the predictions, I would like to talk about what's new in SEO. Quite recently, I saw a poll on Twitter, and I don't know if I can find it here quick enough to show it to you. But the poll on Twitter was about what SEOs guarantee their services. And I also shared it in the Skype group. I wonder if I could find that. I don't know what would be faster to find it in. But anyway, I shared this with the group. I'm just quickly, I want to see if I can find it here. Yeah, here we go. Okay. So let me share my screen. And it was from, it was from, here we go. Martin McDonald. I hope you guys can see that. And he was asking if people in his stream here that are SEOs, if they offer a guaranteed uplift with their SEO services. And this is, look at this is fascinating. 83% said this was a bad idea. 83% said it's a bad idea to, as an SEO to offer a guarantee. Only 17% said it was a good idea. And that's just terrible, quite frankly. And let's just assume that there's 2% of SEOs out there that thought it was a good idea, but they're nuts. They have what they're doing. So I'm going to say about 15%. If you cannot offer a guarantee as to whether people are going to rank higher by getting your services, then why are you offering any services? You have no reason to offer any services. You have no moral justification to offer any services. If you cannot guarantee, all things being equal, assuming they listen to you, they pay all the money they need to do, they acquire all the stuff they need to acquire, they do all the work you tell them to do, assuming the client does all that, how is it you cannot guarantee that they're going to rank better, even by one spot? right? That tells me that at least 85%, 80 to 85% of the SEO industry has no idea what they're talking about. That tells me that at least 80 to 85% of the SEO industry is not using scientific methods. And, I was the same way 5 years ago. If you watch a video from 5 years ago, I would have said offering a guarantee is sketchy. You might not be able to do it, blah, 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 blah. Even though I still offered guarantees, but it was definitely not as sure as it is now. With just go to bit.ly/SEO proof with the scientific knowledge I have now in my SEO group. This thing's flicking around. The scientific knowledge I have now in my SEO group, I can guarantee, and pretty much all my students can guarantee too, that their sites are going to rank higher and your site's going to rank higher if you use our science-based methods. Why? Because they're science-based.
All right, I'm gonna play devil's advocate on that.
Boom. Okay, go.
What if there are SEOs out there that just happen to know from experience that when they onboard a customer, that customer usually wants to rank for a vanity keyword and not necessarily the keyword that's going to make them the most money or get them the best leads?
Sure.
And
Yeah,
so why guarantee the thing that isn't best for the business when 6 weeks into it, all the targets are going to change?
Right. So like I said, I had my caveats here. Like, one, they have to do all the work you tell them to do. They have to listen to what you say to do. If, I tell the client, okay, you got to fix this, this, and this, you got to do this and this, and they don't do it, well, then obviously I can't guarantee anything at that point, right? So there's all kind of caveats at the beginning. And one of them would also be, of course, Ted, that's a very good devil's advocate. And I find this all the time. Clients often have a vanity keyword they want to rank for. And maybe it was relevant 20 years ago, but it's not always relevant now. Sometimes it is, but doesn't always have to be. And so, they want to rank higher for that. And so it's like, do you make them rank higher for this vanity keyword, which doesn't have any searches anymore? Or do you make them rank higher for all these really great keywords in their niche, or the ones they should be ranking for? So, I mean, there's a discussion you need to have there. There's a philosophical decision you need to make there. Maybe even an ethical decision you need to make there. It's pretty easy to make if the vanity keyword is something really simple like their brand name, pretty easy to make them rank higher for their brand name, if they're not already ranking high for it already, so but those are aside. Like we're saying, in a regular SEO scenario, trying to get them ranking for the keywords they should be ranking for, because those are the ones that have the traffic and have the buying intent. And if you don't know how to calculate this, here's my first tip of this special episode. Is use Google AdWords Keyword Planner, download to Excel the monthly traffic and the average cost per click. Make an Excel pivot table, multiply the traffic times the average cost per click, either high or low, take your pick. I like to use high, but you can use low as well. And that gives you an SEO score. And that'll tell you how lucrative each keyword is because of the traffic, but also the amount of money people are willing to pay on that traffic. And sometimes you'd be quite surprised, like this search has 1 million searches, but people in AdWords are only willing to bid a cent on it. Whereas this search has 10,000 searches, but people in AdWords bid, whatever it is, $1,000 on it. That means this one's better than that one, just as for an example. So you'll see all kind of situations like that where you're suddenly not going for the higher traffic keywords. You're going for lower traffic ones, but they're way more lucrative. And ostensibly, because of that market research that Google does for you automatically, you're going to make way more money. And that's the name of the game, folks, making more money. If you cannot guarantee that your clients are going to rank higher and make more money, and all their KPIs, all the useful KPIs anyway, are going to get better, like making more money, higher CTR, better conversions in their conversion funnel, and better rankings or better impressions. If you can't get them any or all of that, then you got a problem. You need to join a scientific group that does that. You can check my group out at secretseo.guru. And there's other scientific groups out there as well. Okay.
And of course, there's also the case of there are probably clients you shouldn't take on. Like, for example, I had one company approach me and they wanted to rank for the keyword yoga pants. And, there's nothing too daunting about yoga pants until you realize you are literally going up against every publicly traded online retailer there is.
Yes.
And that the cost of doing that is cost prohibitive. So, for a package I offer, that costs X, it doesn't make any sense to take on that customer because it's going to cost way more than X to get the job done.
And that's another really good point, Ted. Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, not all customers are good customers for a number of reasons. One, some customers are mean. Some customers are jerks. Some customers want to treat you like an employee when you're not their employee. Some customers, I could go on, right? Some customers have most customers have unrealistic expectations, and thinking usually that it should cost less than it does to rank for a keyword, but it doesn't even necessarily have to cost a lot. You can rank cheaply if you know exactly what you're doing. The more scientific your knowledge, the cheaper it will be to rank, because the more powerful ranking factors you know, and the better you know how to manipulate them and monopolize upon them. In fact, I like to say the more you spend on SEO education, the less you're going to spend on SEO, because the less messing around you're going to do, the less fumbling around you're going to do, the less wasteful spending you're going to do, and the less time it's going to take. So spending SEO money in education is like $2 or $3 more extra that you would get spending SEO money ranking. And after a lot of our scientific experiments helped with Cora software that Ted authored, we know a lot of different ranking factors that are absolutely free, completely free. And so it is possible. My ex-protege, Chase Reiner, wanted to have a big debate with me at one point before his lie came out and blah blah blah. And there's a big kerfuffle, whatever. I'm not going to talk about it. But he wanted to have this big debate with me that you could rank without links, and it was a foolish debate for me to enter into, because it was too vague. Of course, you can rank without links. There's many local areas there's many local SERPs you can rank without links. I've ranked a site without links, or too many links anyway. I had 5 or 6 links. But that doesn't mean that's the way it works for every niche, and for most niches, it doesn't work that way. But there's plenty of ranking factors you can do that are perfectly free, that don't require you to acquire links. You put quotations around acquire, and so it can be very, very cheap. So the more money you spend on SEO education, and good SEO education, the scientific-based SEO education, the less money you'll spend down the road. And not all clients are created equal. Some of them, it will cost like at least 10, 20 grand to get ranking for that kind of keyword, but then you're ranking for it and you should be making a lot of money. I mean, if it's going to be that high competition, there's going to be a lot of money behind that keyword. And so the return on investment always works out with SEO, unlike AdWords, where the cost is going to go up and up and up and up, and Google's going to gouge you more and more and more and more every year. Ho, 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 says Santa Josh. Okay, so let's go here to the questions. Let's see if we have any early questions to answer. Darren says he loves the hat. Thank you, Darren. I love you. We have the best turkey SEO. That's correct. 4. Trucking Unlimited asks, it's not about ranking higher. It's about customers wanting unrealistic results. Yes. So, I mean, it's a matter. There's another point here. Another good learning point I can make here is that when you're a consultant, you don't want to overpromise. You want to exact promise, or even slightly underpromise. Say you're going to make them get higher, and then when you do make them go higher, then they're all super impressed and they're super happy about it. And that's the kind of thing you want to do. For example, here is a client email that I got back. Let me share it with you. This is the kind of result you want to get. And I've gotten it because I exactly promised. So blah, 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 blah. Gary says, my rankings are great. Josh, you've done everything that you have promised. It's amazing. That's because I know exactly what to promise and what not to promise, right? And that's both a point of knowing your how to do SEO. That's also a point of knowing how to manage customer expectations. And so you never overpromise. You always exactly promise exactly what you know you can do. That's your guarantee. If these caveats are met, like I tell you to do this stuff and you do it, or you get this stuff and it's going to take this amount of time, there has to be a reasonable expectation there. But you have to reasonably explain to them how it's going to work and what's going to happen as well. And you gotta know that so you can explain it. But then you can't overpromise as well. You can't promise them the moon, and make sure you promise them the right kind of stuff. So that's definitely very important as well when you are trying to do client services. Lewis Houston asks, what are your thoughts on Income School YouTube channel? If they are not doing, I have no idea who they are, Lewis. If they don't do scientific methods, like I do scientific methods, and like Ted does his scientific methods, and like Kyle does his scientific methods, then they are absolute crap. I could tell you with authority, if they don't do scientific methods, then they are absolute crap. Let me show you why. Would you like to see why? This is why. This is the 5 ranks of necessary SEO evidence. Oh, yes, he shared it. He did it. Starting with the worst, the 5th rank, that's ranking the lowest, is SEO opinions. So that's probably what all their Income School is based on. And then maybe filtered in a little bit what Google says, and then maybe some offhand in the field observations. But the best part here is the niche specific correlation studies, where you're using Cora to get actual massive, powerful correlation studies to tell what out of 600 factors, what 100 pages are doing within 5 minutes. All of them, every single one. It's the most powerful competition analysis tool there is. Use bit.ly/get-Cora for 25% off. And if you've never heard of this, then where have you been? And the best one, of course, is single variable experiments, in my opinion. Now, Ted and I go 12 rounds with this all the time, but in my opinion, the most epistemologically trustworthy, pound for pound, despite whatever trouble we have getting into or out of the experiments, is single variable experiments, where I can make one little change and see if that makes a ranking difference by various methods, by the direct method, by what we're calling S3TV, or statistically significant single variable tests environment. So that is the only ones you can trust. Why? So why did I say that? Why is it crap if they're not doing science? If they're not doing this first 1 or 2, and sometimes 3, if they're not doing 1 to 3, if they're doing instead 3 to 5, then it's crap. Why? Because you can't trust it. You can't trust this stuff down here. That's the problem with it. The problem is you can't trust this because it's not truthy, right? It's not truthy at all. It doesn't have evidence behind it. It's just opinion and hearsay. And we know how good opinion and hearsay is. To say not very good at all. So that's how I would answer that question. I've never even seen them. I don't even know who they are. I don't need to know who they are or see them, because at the end of the day, if they're not doing scientific methods, then you cannot trust them. They are total and complete crapola. So let me go back here to the questions. See if I can find where I was here. Okay, Lewis also goes on to ask, what content should I put on my rank and rent site whilst I'm ranking it and looking for a paying client to rent it? Lewis, you should put on the content that needs to be there to rank. If you know the scientific ranking factors, then you know exactly how to answer that question. It will be the same every single time. There's a certain formula of content you need to have on your site to rank properly. And that's what you need to do. Otherwise, you're not going to rank properly. Then you're never going to be able to rent it later on. And so you would only make minor changes between collecting conversions or not. In fact, there'd be almost no difference, to tell you the truth, whatsoever. The perfect page is the perfect page, and it needs to be the perfect page. Otherwise, it's not going to rank very well, unless you have very, very weak competition. All right, so our other co-host, our local co-host, Jordan Pierce, has joined us. Jordan, how are you doing today, sir?
Doing great. Getting ready for the new year and ready to rock this out.
Fantastic. Are you where in the States are you now?
I am in Utah right now.
And did you get snow in Utah for Christmas?
We did. We got about 3 inches.
Did you? Well, so you had a nice white Christmas then.
Yep. It was very good.
Oh, we didn't get any snow. I just got rain and mist. That's all I got up here. That's because I'm in the Pacific Northwest. Well, that's it's kind of nice for Christmas having the snow, isn't it? And then it goes away, and you're like, good.
I actually really like the snow. Believe it or not, I'm probably the only person here that actually enjoys it.
Oh. You're a weirdo.
Yep.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you for joining. Now, okay, so let's get to the main part of the show here. Let's reveal some secrets first off. So in 2018, we did a whole bunch of bombshell experiments, and let me share with you what they were. Let me just give you a general idea of our scientific method. So our scientific method, we have a bunch of, I use alphanumeric gibberish pages that I change one little factor on, and I spider it, and I see exactly when the change happened, compared to 4 other perfectly the same, except for that one factor, sister pages. And so by using this method, we found a number of things. We might have found a way to even enhance that to make it even more scientifically viable. But even this method, however powerful or not powerful it is compared to other scientific methods, I still think it's actually quite powerful. And it's like a V8 engine compared to a souped-up V6. The V8 still goes really, really fast, even though it's inefficient with the fuel. So I still think it counts and definitely has some explanatory power there, very powerful explanatory power. So this powerful explanatory power was able to tell us a bunch of things. One, that Google changes their ranking factors all the time. They're now using, Google's already told us a couple of years ago, they're now using machine learning or artificial intelligence as one of the main factors that determines what ranking factors they choose. So that's a meta ranking factor, if you will. It's not a direct ranking factor that's ranking pages. It's a meta factor that affects the factors they choose that are going to rank pages. So we can tell they are using meta factors, and we can tell the meta factors are being selected by artificial intelligence because they're really dumb. And they're vacillating on really simple things. Ever since March and April of this year, let me show you some of the stats we got here. So ever since April here, for example, and let me share my screen. And this actually is from Quora. The Quora diff tool is built in the Quora suite. And this is some of the power you would get when you sign up for Quora and the kind of power my science group uses on a regular basis. This was from April, the April update. And ever since that April update, and maybe even a month before in March, they made some preliminary changes. And this is the kind of stuff that we started seeing, the AI choosing keywords. See the word keywords in here? Do you see all this keywords? Keywords. Up 172 points. Keywords and span tags up 69, 60. Google used HTTPS. They boosted HTTPS, the TLS certificate. Keywords. Title has sales words entered. It wasn't there before, so they started using sentiment analysis as well. And keywords in H1 to H6. This was the start of Medic. This is not what Medic was. Medic was August 1st. The end or around there, the end of July, the beginning of August, to be precise. But this was the start of what Medic is essentially. This is the whole kind of milieu, if you will, if I could use the French, of the whole zeitgeist, to use German, the whole kind of essence of what Google has been doing ever since April. And it didn't start in August. It actually started in April, and we knew immediately we could track it immediately with our scientific testing and with our correlative test, our scientific measuring. So this is where they started going already. And then we also got other interesting ones at the time. Like, for example, this is what we got here for trends in, speaking of Medic, this is what we got around July 29th. Is we got keywords and sentences, keywords, HTML tags, term frequency, again, the keywords related, keywords everywhere. Now you might ask, why would Google reverse 15 odd years of ranking philosophy that they've been doing to move away from keywords, to move away from it being so simplistic? It's actually not very simplistic at all. When you do the scientific testing, it's actually fairly complex. But at the end of the day, keywords wins, however you define the term keywords. And there's three different types of keywords. There's exact match, there's the variance, and then there's the topically related keywords. So if you know how to get those, you can get them all in Quora. If you know other ways of getting those, I just gave you a super secret little tip there and a way to get a leg up on your pages. And maybe in your important spots on page, like a cough title, cough heading tags, cough. Who knows what I said? Who knows? It's Christmas. It's Santa, Josh. Woo. I like that. Nah, that's better back here. So it's ever since April, we've seen these changes that have been happening. And August here is the one here we saw. That was Medic that I just showed you that had the keywords all higher. Word count was up as well. Number of sentences is up as well. And you might be asking, why would Google go against 15 years of ranking philosophy? They were getting away from that. And the reason is because Google's not making those choices anymore. They leave it to the AI now. And the AI is dumb. The AI is dumb as shit. Tank Brain is not very smart at all right now. And the best way, Stephen, thanks for joining, but I'm just going to mute you until you want to ask a question. If you want to ask a question, go ahead and unmute yourself after that. Uh, the best way for the AI to determine what a page is about is, drumroll, what's written on the page. There's no better way for the AI to determine that this page is about red apples than it says red apples a lot, right? And says other words that people say when they say red apples, and says sentiment words that tell them their red apples are very, very good at the same time. Did I just say that? Yes, I did. You don't realize how big of a huge leak that was. If you understood what I just said and you can tactically use it, your rankings are gonna go all of a sudden. That's not the only factor, of course, but it's a huge one. The main one they've changed. That is the main, on page is the main factor they've changed since April. What might surprise you to hear me say that? You might have thought I would have said quality, right? Because I've been preaching quality for the last 5 years. Well, quality is still very important. It closes this loop. But the first thing that tells the artificial intelligence that you are relevant, to use John Mueller's word, the first thing that tells the artificial intelligence that you are relevant for a particular search query is that you say it a lot. In fact, as much as everybody else, if not slightly more. It is that simple. And we knew this immediately. We knew this the second they did it. It took us 5 minutes to figure it out because of our scientific methods. Everyone else was guessing. It's all links. It's use your disavow file. It's a silo. They have no idea what they're talking about. So that, and ever since then, it's gotten worse. In September, it got worse. They keep doing these kinds of changes here. What you really need to do is you need to make sure that Google fully understands your page in terms of what you're trying to rank for. Quality is important. So quality does finish this loop. So the first thing that tells the artificial intelligence that you're about a certain search query is the on page, but the last thing is the click. And so in terms of a landing page, this is definitely what you need here to do. Let me share my screen here again. So in terms of a good looking landing page, here's kind of what you want to do for an e-commerce kind of thing. This has been tested to work very, very well. You'll want the photo, you want to sell the dream, you're going to want the sales value propositions, and you're going to want the call to action. That all has to be and the price has to be crossed out. Now it's only a lower price. Wow, fantastic. I'm so lucky. It's for a limited time. Any kind of seals you have there. This kind of e-commerce page. Now, blog pages just doesn't count for the blog pages. For the blog pages above the fold, you need to give them what they want. But just for e-commerce pages, go back, pause that, take a look at it, take some notes. That's what you need to do for e-commerce pages to guarantee maximal rankings. This has all been scientifically tested in social psychology experiments, actual scientific experiments other people have done, and our experiments as well in the field. Now, there's other things we learned about. We definitely learned about these on-page factors. We learned that speed is, in our field tests, is definitely an important factor. We've learned that social as well. Social was a huge factor. Let me share another thing for you. So this is another product of Quora that we were able to figure out, within minutes. This is July 29th. This is not even August yet. This is before even everyone else woke up and realized there was an update. You notice here the other thing that Quora was able to tell was the you see Twitter, Open Graph, YouTube, Twitter. You see all of the Instagram. You see all Twitter, Open Graph. You see all of the, this again was from Medic, from the August 1 update. You see all of the social proof that they're looking for and requiring now. And you see also the load time in milliseconds. Speed was also super, super important. And of course, again, keywords all over the place in here as well. So with our scientific tools, we were able to determine right away what they were doing. So that's a lot, and that story has just gone on since September. It's gone on the whole way up until now. It's working the same way. If you haven't addressed any of that stuff, you're definitely going to have a problem. It's the on-page, the speed, the social proof, the quality. You're going to need probably some links, and also you're going to need the quality, the user clicks to finish these conversions, As I've been saying, Google's been tracking traffic. We've definitely done a ton of experiments to prove that. Don't try and go to crowd search. Don't go to, don't get just fake traffic. It's not going to work. We've tested that every which way. There's very few ways you can do it. And there's only one person I know who's doing it well. And you might be on the call here today. Otherwise, you have to get real traffic. And usually the best way to do that is from Facebook. Just go to Facebook and buy some ads that the people would be interested in your stuff. That's usually cheaper than micro workers anyway. So that's the kind of stuff that's been going on in 2018 that our scientific experiments showed us. Our scientific experiments showed us a whole bunch of other stuff that they turned on, they turned off, that the AI liked, the AI didn't like, and that we found out a whole bunch of other little secrets and little tricks and tips. Maybe I can share some. Now, Gabe asked a question. Now, Gabe, I don't know how much I'll be. Now, Gabe is one of my private students. I don't know how much I'll be able to answer this. Let's see how Christmassy it is. Josh, say you have a new page that you optimized with Pop and Cora. So we're definitely using Pop and Cora as tools to optimize pages. That's the tools we use to take advantage of all these scientific experiments we found. When do you determine when to switch from on-page to off-page? How do you know you hit the ceiling? You know you hit the ceiling when you're on par or slightly better in measurements in the key spots and the important spots that we found than everybody else in your niche. So that's how you know you've hit the ceiling, is when you're on par or slightly better than everybody else in the key important spots. And some spots are important and some spots are not. You're not going to know unless you've done the scientific testing. Let's just say Google likes to label a lot of their content, a lot of our content, and likes it when a lot of our content has a name, maybe even an ID. They like it, you know, when they can very easily tell with the structure what's going on the page in terms of HTML, logical structure, logical character formatters, for those of you who know your HTML. And let's just say our scientific testing has proven, and along with Kyle's as well, that obviously they like headings. They like a nice structured page where they can tell what content is about what stuff. And they like you to be descriptive in the meta sense. If you could have your keywords in there, maybe that might be a good thing. And of course, a good title always goes a long way and always has for SEO. So for those of you reading between the lines, I just gave you a whole lot of other scientific little drops there as to what's going on. And that's all proven through our experiments, by the way. I'm not just, those are just suggestions. I'm not just suggesting these things. So that's how you know you hit the ceiling. So, but of course, there's way more than off-page to do, depending on what you mean by off-page. But okay, so that's kind of how 2018 has gone, how it's going to continue to go. So, Ted, what kind of things, and Jordan, what kind of things do you guys see for 2018?
Well, from 2018, I mean, we basically learned that, you know, Google's AI is crap and keyword usage is the primary coefficient for relevancy, so it has strong impact on rankings. What I'm really excited about is some of the stuff that I want to predict for 2019. So can I jump into that ball of wax, or do you want to wait?
Okay, well, hold on. Let's Jordan, what did you find? What else did you see for 2018?
Well, considering that they had over like 300 updates this year for local alone, I think they're still going to be really making a lot of products for Google Map listings. They're really pushing your GMB to be kind of like your money site. So I see them adding more features, more products in there. And I think as far as like organic, they're really making it almost like it's back in 2012, 2011. So I think they're trying to push their AI, so it's kind of pushing everything. It's almost like they had to hit the reset button for AI to be able to catch up. So I think if you're really jumping into SEO, you should really take advantage into 2019, because it's very, I wouldn't say easy, but it's we're doing it like we did several years ago.
Yeah, it's doable. It's and it makes sense, you know, because back in 2011, they kind of like, okay, done. We've got the best ranking factors, and as long as nobody manipulates them, they're fine, right? And then we went and we manipulated the hell out of them, and then they had to build Panda and Penguin and all these retrograde kind of apologist algorithms that had to go in and fix what was already perfect.
Right.
So when they press, and they have literally pressed the reset button, I've watched it. I've watched sites that were demoted because of quality get refreshed back to where they were, and their quality scores, they refresh them all the time. When they put a new factor in the quality scores, they got to refresh them all and have it all recalculated. So they have literally pressed the refresh button a number of times. That's why you see sites there, gone, gone. And that's one of the reasons you see that anyway. So yeah, I agree totally. They're going to continue using GMB as a they're going to continue with their products. They're going to continue promoting their products. They're going to continue a lot of entity building, a lot of entity understanding. That's only going to get more powerful as things move on. And we made some really interesting, mind-blowing experiments and some discoveries when it comes to, say, your money in your life sites, or when it comes to sites that might use EAT, expertise, authority, and trust. I don't throw that buzzword around like you should do anything with it. I'm just saying in that neck of the woods, we found a specific, exact, tactical thing you can do that gives you a boost. And if you do it correctly, it gives you a boost. If you don't do it correctly, it doesn't. And nobody else knows about it that I know of, not even SIA. No one else knows about it. And so that was very, very exciting and very interesting. It had to do with Medic. It had to do with all that EAT crap that people talk about. Well, ours is better. We found the secret there. And other than just social and Twitter and keywords and all the other stuff that I showed you there, that's going on there as well. So some very nice tie-ins to Google My Business there as well. The other thing from 2018 that we discovered is internal links are nowhere near as powerful or nowhere near as important as people think they are. Now, for the most of this year, we tested and we found out that they had no power or juice whatsoever, that silos are total BS, and they still are, that they're not a good ranking, they're not the optimal ranking procedure. You can have them, but you're getting in the way of your own rankings. You're shooting yourself in the foot. And they're mostly BS, and they're mostly no good. And then having huge different sections of the site interlinked are not helping. Internal links, we're not passing any juice. We found a way for internal links to pass juice. So either we missed this experiment previously, or Google's AI made a switch because it likes a certain kind of element that goes usually on the top of a page. I'll just drop that for you. There's certain kind of elements that usually go on the top of a page that have to do with internal links. And AI seems to like that. So we found a big ranking boost there. Even when you do it in a way that I thought, a black hat way I thought would never work, we found that it worked. So those are the other kinds of experiments we found. So there was so many more other experiments we found that are still working and still the way it works. And the only way you'll know whether it does or doesn't is if you keep scientifically testing it and measuring it with Cora. So now let's move to my predictions for 2019. How do I think things are going to go? And then we'll turn it over to Ted because he's excited to tell you some of his predictions. And Jordan, if you have any, that'd be great as well. In 2019, 2019, things are going to continue exactly as they have been like this. SEO is going to continue to get harder and harder and harder. It's continue to be more and more complex. Google is going to continue sharpening their algorithms and trying to throw off SEOs. They already attacked the scientific method by going after Kyle Roof, our beloved friend in SIA, who won that ranking competition, and then some losers found it, and we're all like, hey, I think it's links, man. I'm so jealous I can't do it like he does. And then Google caught wind of it, and then he got in trouble for that. That's going to continue. It's going to get harder. You're going to need to join a scientific group. You're going to need to use the scientific methods. In terms of the ranking factors, they're going to continue the way they are. The AI is going to continue to make decisions as to what are the common factors amongst all the good seed pages that the quality raters are determining for the AI, and it's gonna pick things at random that human beings normally wouldn't think of. Google might take advantage, might take control of that, or they might not. Either way, our scientific testing will prove what it is, and we'll find what it is. I believe it's going to settle down because the AI is going to laser focus on what really makes a page better, and it's going to stick with that. We're going to know those factors, and Core is going to be able to measure any new ones that we're not aware of. And then quality is just going to get dialed up a little bit more. More people are going to get links, and so Chase's lame argument that you can rank anything without links is already false, and it's going to become more and more false as time goes on because more and more people are going to get links. And we already have patents out for what's called the MC4 algorithm. Let me show you the patent for that very quickly. The salient bit of the patent is that I figure MC4 is going to become more and more prevalent in 2019 if it's being used, which I believe we have some definitely in the field observations to say it is. that the goal of the MC4 algorithm is to produce an aggregate ranking that ignores items, such as say pages, that are sparsely ranked in only a minority of factors. That means you're going to have a wealth of factors. That means that if all your competitors have links, you're going to need them too. And so more and more people are going to acquire links, and more people are going to realize, we've also done tons of testing in external links, and you wouldn't believe actually how external links really works. The majority of the industry, remember, only 15% will really guarantee rankings. That means only no more than 15% actually knows the ranking factors, because we have some foolish people in there who are guaranteeing factors when they have no business to be doing so. So only a certain amount of, half? Only 7%, maybe 10% of the industry actually knows what's going on. We are the SEO industry because we can reliably rank sites, because we can guarantee it, because we have scientific methods. They are not the industry. They're selling snake oil. They're not in the SEO industry. They're selling dreams and hopes, unethically and fraudulently. We're selling rankings, so there's a night and day difference there. Those 80% are not even in 80 to 90%, not even in the SEO industry anymore. You might as well buy a charm, like a good luck charm or a dinosaur. Maybe you have just as much luck buying this dinosaur, rawr, and it helping you rank than any of those people. And if they have a problem with that, I refer them to my dog. There you go. So I think that in 2018, it's going to continue along those lines. I think that the quality algorithm is going to get slightly better, and they're going to track more clicks. They're going to find out just in little details, are little changes, differences in degree, or going to become around summer a difference in kind. And they're going to press the button and refresh a bunch of stuff. You're going to see your site go up and go down again, go up and go down again. You're going to think, oh, it's getting better. My disavow file worked. No, it didn't. They're going to keep messing around with SEOs if we keep broadcasting what we're doing. But we're all going dark now, and so they've pretty much realized, except for Kyle, that's the only really major SEO hit that SEO took last year. I don't remember a lot of big link wheels getting de-indexed or stuff like that. They've got all they have that all in lockdown. They have algos to take care of all that. So as long as we keep our mouths shut and we don't tell them how we know what we know and what we're doing, then as far as they don't know who to watch, they don't know what to watch, and they don't know what's going on that we know. And so I don't think it's going to come back to haunt us in that way. So I think they're just going to keep cranking these algorithms. We're going to be able to tell through our methods what's going on, and it's going to be ranking and money for us, and sadly not for anybody else. And so I think that's how 2018 is going to continue. The ranking algorithms, the on-page stuff is going to continue. The AI is going to settle down on a certain set of factors, and then that's not going to change very much. And the quality is going to settle down. It's going to be these clicks, these conversions. And then the links you're going to need social. For only for the niches, you need social. And if someone has managed to buy a social, that's going to get better at detecting that. And real social is going to be really what has to go on there. And essentially, we're going to be pretty wide at SEO, except for the fact that any SEO is black hat in their eyes now, because there's nothing black hat about what we're doing about testing the SEO. Not really. So that should, if that makes sense. Anyway, so that'll continue like that. And that's just going to get better and better and better. So you have to get a group that does SEO science, in my opinion. And in 2019, you're really going to see the difference. SEO is decimated now. It is a dead man walking now, right? When you see stats like that, where only 15% will guarantee rankings, and say 5% of those are yahoos who have no business doing so, when only 10% of the industry, this is a sample, but when only 10% of the sample is willing to guarantee rankings, that's not an industry anymore. That's SEO is dead. It is dead, except for the people who are doing science like us. Science SEO is real. Guess SEO is dead. SEO of yesteryear, which is Guess SEO. Guess EO is dead, and that's gone. And so you have to get with a scientific group, and that would be it doesn't have to be mine. Do your own experiments if you want, or join a different group. Definitely join Jordan's local group. Get Cora for sure. But that's what you're going to need to do. Moving on in 2019, we'll go with Jordan first, and then Ted, we'll go with your exciting predictions. What do you think is going to happen in 2019 there, Jordan?
I think I covered a little bit of it, but I think with just for my own, since I do a lot of local, I think they're going to be putting a ton of features. They're always trying to make GMB be more social, even though they get rid of social platforms. They're trying to bring it back. I think they're going to be adding even more user engagement features within that alone. Organic, I think you cover that with what's going to be covering for 2019. But as far as GMB, it's just a matter of using every single feature that they're coming out with, because that's what they're using for all of their users to really have that interaction.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree entirely. And Ted, my friend, what do you think is going to happen in 2019? Let's hear your big predictions for 2019. So these are Ted Kabaitis' predictions for 2019. I wish I had a graphic to put up here. I'd put it up.
Well, one of the things that was discovered in 2018 was that Google screwed us all again. Everybody remembers, back in recent history that you could get about 1,000 search results out of Google if there was enough content out there, and you turn the filter off and you could page through all the pages till you get to about result 1,000.
Mhm.
Those days are gone.
Mhm.
So now, even if you search a keyword like Google, which there are millions of pages out there that mention Google, you'll still get 300 to 500 search results when you turn the filters off and crawl through everything. And that's a big deal. That's a massive reduction of what can be in the primary index for a keyword.
Yeah,
Which means keywords have factors, and they probably always have, but we're familiar with web pages and URLs having factors, but it appears that keywords have factors too.
Mhm.
So the keywords will have the search volume, they'll have the average depth of pagination and things like that. And these factors influence how many slots that keyword gets in the primary index of Google, which is why some keywords can have 300 slots and other keywords can have 500. But what's so crazy is that there are these pages, and we found this through testing, there are these pages that once they get the certain combination of signals, Google doesn't A/B test them anymore. So Google is constantly trying to figure out what should be at the top of search. And we're calling it the volatile middle. If you're in the volatile middle, you get A/B tested with other pages outside of the primary index, because Google only has 300 to 500 slots. There are 10,000 pages on this topic. Unless you are a top ranking page, you will be A/B tested with pages outside of that 300 to 500.
Right.
And so we're seeing this. And what we found in our testing, we were testing our testing. So trying to find sources of error in the testing and saying, okay, can we continue reducing variables? Can we continue reducing issues? When we eliminated everything we could, what we got out of Google was volatility. It's just every 6 hours, it would randomize the search results, and it would A/B test everything constantly. So when you properly reduce variables, what you get from Google is that random volatility, which means that there's a teeny tiny minuscule component of random score that Google assigns to all pages and re-rolls every so many hours.
Right. We were able to use a metaphor. Our testing has gotten so precise that we can measure the quantum flux, the background quantum flux radiation of Google, and it updates every 6 hours.
But it has implications on how we test. So I think in 2019, our testing methods will probably change. And as a result, the sensitivity of the signals we can measure gets much more precise. And so that's an amazing discovery. Another thing that we're looking at, I just saw a study. It's not published yet, but it's being done by an academic statistician. I gave him the largest dump of data I've ever given out to anyone. And he went to town on it. And his study is fascinating. And the spoiler is the number one strongest SEO factor by a lot is diversity of factors.
Oh.
So we looked at what ranks well, and it's like the strongest factor over and over again is having lots of factors. And you can measure how many factors does a page have. And it's like over and over again that diversity measurement is the number one SEO factor, which is strong evidence in support of an MC4 like rule set. So,
so we have in the field observations of MC4. First, so let me go through this. Sorry, Ted. This is a perfect teaching moment. So let me go through this. This is how scientific SEO proceeds. And so let me just show you how this works so that you don't know, so you know we're not just blowing snake oil. First, we had Ted's opinion that MC4 was a thing. Then we had Google coming up with a patent. Then we were observing it in the field. Now we have statistically significant data that says it's a factor, right? You see how we're climbing up the rungs of worst evidence to best? You see how our knowledge is getting sharper? This is what science does.
And we're actually discussing how we can do testing of it. It won't be single variable because it breaks that constraint. It's a multivariate system. It needs a multivariate test.
I can think of a few ways we could do it.
So that's what I think is coming up is more testing on that. I think the number one factor in SEO is going to change, and probably change in Q1.
In what? Pray tell.
Well, number one factor being your diversity of factors. It correlates stronger than backlinks by a lot.
Oh yes, for sure. So you're saying that that's going to stop in the first quarter being the main ranking factor?
No, I think it's going to be.
I think the combination of the diversity is going to switch.
I think diversity of factors itself will become the de facto number one SEO factor. Like right now, it's not on anybody's radar. Most people are hearing about diversity of factors being a factor for the first time.
Yes, yes. Other than I've been watching the show because we've been talking about this for a while, but yeah, and that's perfectly actionable, guys. What Ted just said there and what he just dropped was a bombshell. That was perfectly actionable. If you understood what he was talking about, you can go and use that. I mean, it makes perfect sense because at the end of the day, the best way for the AI to tell that your page is the most like the seed set that the quality rater said these are good pages is that you have as many factors as possible, the more the better, of being like them. And all those individual factors that they thought were great, like keyword here, keyword there, sentiment word here, topically relevant word here, link here, social here, click here, this here, all those minor things, I'll give you a +1 to +10, say for example, and they don't multiply times each other, they all add up. They're all aggregate. And so when you add all these individual factors that the AI thinks that they found was great, as long as Google continues to operate this way, which I don't see any reason why they would change because that is the most relevant finding, right? That might change a little bit, but I think Ted's probably right. It won't. Ted is completely correct, in my opinion, that philosophically speaking, that diversity of factors is the biggest ranking factor. That is hands down what we've seen in every test, single variable test, and every in the field observation, because the more factors we add, the higher that page ranks. That's why we have to have single variable tests to begin with. And now we can't always tell about how powerful, how many points a certain factor has, like links have +10, putting a keyword here might only be +1. And Ted's talking about ways we can get our scientific measuring tools and tests so fine-grained we could actually start telling you, no, that's only a +1 factor, that's a +10 factor, that's a +7 factor, that's a +3 factor. We're getting that good that we can start to break that down, so to speak. But having all those factors combined together, if you know what the right factors are, because there's also demoting factors. Oops, there's demoting factors as well. Not all of them, and not as many as you would think, and definitely not the ones people talk about right now. In fact, pretty much they're almost all promoting factors. We found one demoting factor for a while, and they turned it off. It's the only one that I knew about, as aside from other link factors that were demoting factors and have been since like 2010. So
Yeah, I think Google's in your mentorship.
they could be. They very well could be. I strongly doubt it. I don't know how I would stop them from joining my mentorship group either. I might have to. I might have to look at everyone's Facebook page. You have to send me your Facebook page before you can join the group or something. But anyway, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, if they make changes, we're just going to change it back. If they start messing with me, I'll do tests differently. I know a number of different ways I can do testing that they cannot stop, and they cannot stop me from doing. And if they stop me from doing it, well, then Ted will just take over, or Jordan will take over. Someone else will take over, right? And we'll just keep it going, right? There's no way to get around it. There's no way to stop us in that regard. Because at the end of the day, they have to leave it open for their artificial intelligence to see factors and rank factors, and it can't change it so rapidly that would decrease user satisfaction. So as long as they care about user satisfaction, which they will always care about, I would presume, to that limited degree they do, as long as they're making their money and care about user satisfaction, then both sides of Google are happy, and that will continue. So Ted just gave us a major breakthrough there. I totally agree. Diversity of factors is the major factor. It's the factor you should be thinking about. What factors exactly can constitute the diversity, the correct diversity? You got to join a scientific testing group to know that for sure. Everyone take a drink of eggnog when I knock my earbud out of my ear. That's 2 times already. You guys have had 2 drinks of eggnog already. Okay. So let me go back here to the questions. Let's see if I can answer all the questions. If you have any, we're going to go for another little while here, try to answer your SEO questions and see what other things I can leak for you for our special happy holidays, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Festivus, Christmas, Ramadan. I know that's in June, but whatever. Every good thing, every good festival wrapped into this day right now is the celebration. It's SEO Miss again. It's a very strange holiday. It's SEO Miss again, and I'm going to try and answer all your questions as much as possible. Everyone's invited who's a nice person and can behave themselves. And let me see if I can answer your SEO questions here. So ask them on the top right-hand side, and for a little while here, we're going to try and go and answer them. And I invite Jordan and Ted to answer in the same spirit if they can, if they're so capable. If they have a microphone, they have more time to donate. So Cloud Inspector Web Design says, have you done any testing to prove/disprove the idea recently surfacing about Google not valuing sponsored style guest posts? Yes, I have done tons of experiments to do that. And let's just say for ranking factors, you do not want to get a link on any sponsored style guest post that is not no-followed. If you buy a link or if you get a link on a page that says sponsored on it anywhere, you definitely want that to be no-followed. Let me just put it that way. DM Zane says, lately I've been using maps like Google, Bing, Apple, but I found it's great. Not only can you put content per each location pin, so to speak, you can also put do follow links on your money site. Okay, thank you for that. Someone told someone to something. I got rid of that question. Where's the questions? Okay, here we go. Every time I scroll down, it reshuffles the question, so I have to go back up. What's the strong on-page heading at this time, Josh? What about H4? What about all of them? That's what I'm going to say there. Trucking Unlimited says, is rank and rent still a thing? Sorry, just getting back into SEO, having been entrenched in Facebook ads. Yes, people do rank and rent. You have to have a way to capture those leads. Basically, I don't know if it's going to make more money for you to sell leads or to rank and rent, because you can't just throw the leads away and expect to rank very well. You can, but you're going to have some pigeon problems at that point. So I think that you probably need, now Jordan would know more about this than I would, because it's usually done in a local setting. But I think rank and rent, I don't know, unless you got someone who really wants to pay you a lot of money to rent it, probably selling those leads would be just as good. It depends on what your ROI is on the other side. Jordan, would you have anything else to say on rank and rent?
No, I entered him in the chat there.
Okie dokie.
But I would just say that it has to make it be worth your while. I mean, at a rank and rent level, you're almost charging probably what you would a normal monthly SEO client anyway. So
yeah,
you just have to do some research and see what's worth your while.
DM Zane asks, also use it to move juice to other tiered something, talking about that. Lewis asks, when will Ted's rank tracker be ready? Ted, when will Rank Analyzer be ready?
Oh, it's still very much a prototype. I'm looking to get that done this year. It's a big project. It's absolutely huge, but it's a working prototype, and that's cool in and of itself. The fact that it can handle the volume I want it to handle, and that it can get the data I want it to get, and it's pretty huge. But we'll see. We'll see. It has to be taken out of the prototype phase and put into a product type packaging, and that's a big project.
Indeed, it certainly would be. Sarah Toby ADJ asks, if we can't get an audit video from you, Josh, how about a video on how to do single variable testing? Well, actually, that's not true. I've done an audit video. It's in my list here. Just go to youtube.com/jbashins, that's JBACHYNS, and go to videos and look back for a while. There is an audit video I did, I think, at the beginning of 2018. So it's there for you. Go ahead and check it out. Gene Watkins asks, a favorite question of mine, can you recommend a few reliable proxy sites for PBNs? Gene, no, I can't, because I don't use PBNs. Why don't I use PBNs? Because they suck. That's why. PBNs, in my opinion, is not the best way to do linking. I acquire, he's using scare quotes, people acquire. I acquire all my links from actual aged blogs that have private logins with real readerships, newspapers and blogs. High-end newspapers and blogs is where I acquire them. And that's the best place to do so. So I don't bother doing PBNs. You can do PBNs. I just don't recommend you do them because they're not as optimal as another way of doing it.
And honestly, that would be a terrible thing to do to somebody's proxy business, is to out them publicly here where Google is likely watching. So what you really want to do is find a PBN that ranks well and contact the people running it saying, hey, who do you use for proxies? And just do it all privately.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're doing crazy PBNs anyway, I don't think you need proxies. If you want to do like 1,000 or 10,000, then yeah, you do. But I think if you just want to do, 10, 20, 30 kind of sites, you could build that all on just different hosting accounts and different stuff like that, and that should probably be fine. I don't know if you'd want to go with proxies. Google has a big, huge list of proxies anyway. But I don't do PBNs. That's not the best way to do linking. Dark Warrior says, shut the fuck up. Sure. We'll let you say that there. Freedom of speech, as they say. Dark Warrior, I invite you to say whatever you're pissed off about. If you have an argument to make, if you have a position against what I've said, go ahead and say it in the chat, as opposed to your very intelligent, shut the fuck up. Let's see if there's any more SEO questions here. I don't know whose direct email they're asking for. If you're asking for mine, it's joshbashinsky@gmail.com. Gene says, happy SEO Miss Josh. Happy SEO Miss Gene. So Chris Brown asks, with your POP and Cora, when you hone in on what appears to be the ranking factors, are you ranking fairly fast, like in 2015, or are you ranking at 2 to 4 weeks? I'm talking local SEO. Okay, so Jordan, you can definitely pop in here whenever you like. But if you're doing POP and Cora correctly, you should see ranking boosts immediately or almost immediately, especially with on-page stuff. The only reason why you wouldn't see boosts immediately with on-page stuff in our scientific testing is that you have quality problems. Now, that's not the same as ranking your GMB. The GMB has a whole other set of factors and is ranked on a whole other number of things that are semi-related to your website, but actually mostly contiguous based on the map pack rankings. So that's that component. The information rankings that go underneath it is just general rankings. And so in terms of your keywords and your on-page not being set up correctly, then that's definitely going to be a problem that you need to set up. And if you fix it, and it was definitely a problem, you will see that boost immediately, even if it's only for a day or half a day, and then you get dropped again. that tells you that, yeah, you did your on page correctly. We get boosts like this all the time. Check bit.ly/SEO proof. We get boosts of 10 spots, 5 spots, 50 spots. I got a boost of 200 spots once from doing on page correctly. It doesn't always stick though, because it depends on whether or not you have a good quality score yet. And that's going to be especially important in local rankings as well. So guys, any questions you want to fire at me, anything you want to ask, I'll try to do my best to answer it and give you a little bit more than I normally do. I can't give away the value of my secret group entirely, of course, but definitely you can ask me any SEO questions you have. It's on the top right-hand side here on YouTube. Jordan and Ted, what do you guys have to say while people are asking more questions?
I would just say for local, just to kind of go off of Quora and Pop. I mean, I've seen change, like you said, within a few hours, even a couple days. If you're getting a lot of dancing or have a site issue as a whole, so you shouldn't be seeing a whole lot of dancing too much.
Yeah, at a recent SEO conference, there was a contest. It was a 2-day ranking contest. And I was blown away by how real time the local SEO methods are. If you need to get on page 1 of Google within the hour, the only way you're going to do that is through like GMB and local SEO tactics. Those guys can affect page 1 in minutes, and it was an impressive sight to see. Now with the organic web results, it typically takes a couple days. Sometimes it can take a couple weeks, but yeah, all the page 1 real-time SEO stuff, that's all local. It's impressive to see.
Fantastic. I agree. I've seen Jordan do it in front of our faces at conferences. So, okay, well, great. Well, I don't see any other SEO questions there, guys. So thanks very much for watching. This is the last White Hat versus Black Hat SEO show of 2018. I would like to thank Jordan Pierce for joining. I'd like to thank Ted Kubitis for joining. Gabe, Scott, or Business Mastery. Chris Brown says, wait. Okay, what, Chris Brown? So if you guys have any more SEO questions, you better ask them right now. Otherwise, I'm going to drink some eggnog and relax. Do you guys have any questions on the call here or in the chat? Last questions?
How does Quora look for 2019, Ted?
Whoa.
That's a big question. There are some cool things. Like I have these advisors, and they're like, grad students and professors in mathematics and statistics, and we constantly talk about how we can push the envelope. And one of the cool things is like applying more regression analysis in Quora, and what that means, like to bring that down to earth, is that we could describe the data in terms of line equations. And it's a way of compressing these huge amounts of measurements into little tiny equations that are easy to transfer and store. So you find a line that maps to the data and you store the equation for that line. And what that could potentially do is let us allow people to opt in to sharing their factor data in a way where we don't have to communicate all that data, all that measurement data. We can just share the line equations, and then all of a sudden you can say, well, I wonder how this factor performs for 10,000 keywords. And you could go to a website and see the plot of 10,000 keywords for that factor altogether. It becomes a way of sharing how factors perform across an entire community of keywords. And so I'm looking at things like that to bring into Quora. How can we fold in crowdsourcing this information to get it even better information?
Ooh, okay.
It's super exciting. I like that.
Yes. That's crazy. That's great. So yeah, I mean, Quora is already fantastic. Again, as I said, if you want to try Quora, go to bit.ly/get-Quora. That's 25% off. My students get 30% off Quora because it's our primary SEO tool. If you want to check out my mentorship group, go to secretseo.guru. Still have a couple spots as people kind of waffle around the 100 mark there. So definitely go to secretseo.guru. You might be able to get in. I would try immediately if you're interested, if at all possible. Otherwise, the prices will be going up next year. The availability will be difficult for next year. Chris Brown asks, what are your thoughts on the Ahrefs keyword difficulty tool? My thoughts are, who cares? It's only Ahrefs has no idea what they're talking about. Ahrefs doesn't do any scientific testing. They do some very flawed statistical analysis. If you want to get Ted going on that, he'll talk your ear off for an hour about how they did it all wrong. Ted talks with actual people in universities about statistical analysis. Apparently they don't. And it's awesome that you have those advisors there, Ted, as well. Not that I thought you needed it, but it's great that you're doing that. And so my thoughts are meh. It's one kind of data. It's kind of okay. It's anecdotal at best. Gene says, how do I find your mentor program? Again, go to secretseo.guru. Well, I'll see if I can find some room for you. I would join sooner rather than later. The later you see this, the least likely you can get in. Internet Marketing Reviews asked, Josh, in 2019, do you have any in your group making 20K a month as an affiliate? Yes, I have plenty in my group making 20K a month as an affiliate. I have people in my group making more than that as an affiliate. I've personally made more than that as an affiliate. You can easily make 50K a month as an affiliate, depending on what your niche is in. It's more difficult now than it used to be for sure, but there's still good niches out there, depending on your personal skill set and your talents and what kind of content you like, let me put it that way, and what you don't. Lewis asks, and this will be the last question, what would be an example of a quality problem? There's tons of quality problems. The primary example is that you're not converting, that you're not relevant to the search, that you are not making your users happy, that they're not terminating the search. Those are all the same quality problems. Quality basically boils down to user clicks. It boils down to conversions, to user experience, and what they click and where they click and what they do, what they bounce from, and what positive, happy signals they do on the page. Google tracks all of this. I've proven this through scientific testing. And so I know exactly what they look for, and I know exactly what promotes you, and I know exactly what demotes you, and we can look for those things and boost it. So it's not, you're not asking the right question, Lewis. It's not, what is an example of a quality problem, thinking that it's like, don't put a keyword in your meta keywords tag. It's not that. It's on a whole nother level that you haven't even considered, that you need to join a scientific group that's changed the game and changed how the industry works and tested Google in ways no one's thought of before and learned powerful secrets that nobody else knows. You know, science, science, how science works. It's what science does. It's the only way the human species gets better. And last question, does the mentorship help find affiliate niches? Yes, sure. I have a whole course on affiliate SEO. You could definitely join that. You could definitely check that out. Hint, for good affiliate niches out there, Josh, there's plenty of them. Well, I shouldn't say there's plenty of them, like there's a million. There's not a million. There are still good affiliate niches. We're definitely not as many as there used to be, like in 2010 even.
Yeah. Don't do yoga pants. Terrible knee.
Don't do yoga pants. Yeah. Well, there's two ways to answer that question. What does good mean? If you mean good by really, really low competition, really, really easy to rank, and good payouts and lots of traffic and lots of money, there's like 10 of those left, maybe 5. Go to Amazon.com. No, go to semrush.com. Check out the rankings for Amazon.com. Filter by the word best. Click down into Excel and make a pivot table. Boom. That's how you find a whole bunch of good niches. But for our group, it doesn't even matter. We can rank for anything. We could rank for yoga pants if we want to. We could rank for any niche we want to. So all the niches that pay out the best, payday loans, porn, gambling, all those niches, pills, all the niches that pay out the best, we can dominate them, and we do dominate a number of them. So it doesn't really matter. We don't have to go for good niches. We go for lucrative niches, and we dominate. So because we use scientific methods, the science dominates. The science wins. The science rules. Science always wins. Science always rules. And we're just humble people who follow it and ask it to please tell us the secrets, science. And if we treat science right, science treats us right, and that's exactly what we do. And so, have you ever heard any other SEO say that? No, I don't think you have. Okay, so that's it for today. Thanks very much, guys. I'd like to thank Jordan Pierce. I'd like to thank Ted Kubitis, Gabe, Scott, and Business Mastery. I can't remember whose account that is, but thank you very much for watching. And again, if you have any questions, email me at joshbrzezinski@gmail.com. If you want to check out my mentorship group, if you want to see our scientific methods, I would highly recommend it. I don't have a lot of spots left. So go to secretseo.guru. You can check out the all the special deals and discounts and stuff we got for you there, and all the ranking tools we'll get for you. And as I always say, and I will continue to say, for 2019, for those about to rank, we salute you and good luck in the SERPs.